In the beginning of the movie, we are told a story where there was a very beautiful pond, and all the ducks in that pond were very happy. But in the same pond, there were two ducks, Dex and his little sister Gwen. They both got bored staying in this pond and wanted to know what the world would be like outside the pond. So one day they decide to fly away from there, but the hunter birds caught them and ate them with no mercy. But then we get to know that it was all just a fictional story that was created by Mac, who, the father of those ducks, he used to constantly discourage his kids from venturing into the outside world, as he didn't want to risk his family's life. But his wife Pam was not at all happy with his decision, as she also wanted to get out from there and see the world. They used to live in a tree near a pond, and they were living their life with joy and happiness. One day Pam and her kids see a group of ducks who had just returned from migration. Seeing this, Pam gets very fascinated and in excitement Dax and Gwen to meet those new ducks. There Dax meets with a female duck, Kim, and befriends with her. She tells Dax that we are all about to migrate to Jamaica for winter. She suggests Dax too to come fly with them, and goes to ask to her father about Dax. As soon as she goes, Mac and Pam come there. Seeing Mac angry, Gwen says that Dax spoke to a girl, and he told her that he wants to get married, because of which Dex and Gwen start to fight with each other. But then Kim's family comes there. Kim's dad suggests Mac and his family to get out of that place and have a great adventure along with them on their way to Jamaica. But Mac refuses his proposal by saying that maybe we'll go next year as we have a lot of work this winter. After which Kim's whole family goes on their trip. But seeing this, Pam and her kids gets very disappointed with Mac as they wanted to go out and see the world. But Mac believed that going out meant bringing the danger to himself, on which Pam says him that it's not right to live a life with fear. There is a lot more to see in life, so before you lose everything you will have to open your eyes. Hearing this, Mac gets very worried, but his worry increases even more when his Uncle Dan tells him that I heard everything you said. Once I used to be like you. I was also afraid to go out and I spent my entire life in this small pond, but look where I have come. Now I am absolutely alone. As soon as Mac hears this, he learns the lesson quickly. He immediately wakes up his family with great excitement and tells them that I have decided that we will also migrate from here. Hearing this, the whole family of Mac gets very happy. Then Gwen asks Uncle Dan to join them with such a cute and innocent face in front of him, seeing which Uncle Dan couldn't deny her proposal, and after that everyone leaves that place for migration and start their trip to Jamaica. For the first time they had left their home and were at the heights of the open sky. They were having a lot of fun, but then they have to stop due to bad weather, and their adventurous trip turns into a scary trip as, during a rainstorm, they take up shelter in a swamp underneath a boardwalk where they encounter a crazed elderly great blue heron named Erin. Everyone gets very scared when they see her, but Erin acts very friendly with them and offers them to take temporarily shelter in her home. Out of fear, Mac couldn't dare to reject her proposal, and they all go to her place, where they meet to Erin's husband Eric, who was even more scary. After which Erin puts them to sleep in a cooking pot and goes to bed herself. But as soon as it is midnight, Mac and his family secretly plans to run away from there. But they couldn't succeed, as Erin sees them and tells them not to leave the bed. At night, the hunters may come out to eat, but Mac didn't believe her, and tells his kids to escape from there. But there Erin saves Gwen and Dax from a catfish, and catches it. Seeing this, Mac and Pam did not believe their eyes, because they had always considered herons as their enemy. But after seeing this, Mac's entire family's perspective had changed now, and they spend the night very comfortably. And in the morning, after saying final goodbye to the Erin and Eric, Mac's family leave for their trip again, and in the heights of the sky their fun begins again. But now, while flying up, they had reached a city where high buildings, lot of cars and people make it very difficult for them to get out. But finally, after a great difficulty, they succeed to get out of that situation safely. During this, Uncle Dan gets separated from them and fly far away from them. So now Mac's family has to go to find them. Meanwhile, Uncle Dan was starving, so when he sees a sandwich lying on the ground, he takes it. But actually, he had come to Pigeon's dominion, due to which soon he gets surrounded by a flock of pigeons fighting for that sandwich. Hearing their noise, Mac's family also reaches there, and in order to save Uncle Dan, they try to scare away those pigeons. But seeing Mac misbehaves with the pigeons, there comes those pigeons' gritty leader named Chump. She gets very mad after seeing a group of ducks daring to scare their pigeons in their own area. But Pam handles the situation very prudently, and suggests a way to settle down the argument between both the community. Chump gets very impressed with Pam's wit, and they become friends. There Mac tells Champ that we were going to Jamaica, but now have lost the way. He seeks her help to get them out from this situation. On this, Chump says that I know a bird who knows the way to Jamaica. She asks them to follow her, and Mac and his family do the same. Chumps take them to a restaurant and infiltrate into that. There they meets Chump's friend Delroy, who was actually a macaw and born and raised in Jamaica. But there he was locked in a cage. He was captured from Jamaica and caged here by a human chef, Tai Yi, that owns him. Upon asking, Delroy tells them the actual way to Jamaica. But he was very upset, as he was missing Jamaica a lot, and he wanted to go back to his home and meet his friends. Seeing this, Dax and everyone plans to get Delroy free from the cage, and for that they needed the key of that cage. Delroy tells them that it's not possible. Chef keeps that key on him at all times, and you can't dare to go anywhere near him. If he catches you, he would turn you into dish. But Dax doesn't scared. But Mac couldn't risk his life, so he stops him and goes to get the key himself. When he enters in the kitchen, he gets to know about the cruel nature of Chef, but he proceeds anyway. There he see that key in his coat, which was hanging on the wall. Somehow he dared to get the key and try to steal it, but then he sees Pam there. She had come behind to help him, after which they try to get the key together, but as soon as they get the key, the fire extinguisher falls down by mistake, which spoils Chef's dish. But now, Chef sees both of them, so he runs after them to kill them. But Pam and Max somehow succeed to escape from there, and they come back to Delroy and try to open the cage impetuously, but accidentally the key slips into Mac's stomach, and he finds it difficult to spit it out. In the meantime, they see Chef, who was approaching toward them in anger. Chump tried to block the gate, but it didn't work. So when Chef enters in the room, they try to hide from him. But at last, they get seen by Chef. There accidentally that key comes out of Mac's stomach, and Delroy gets it, and finally set himself free. After that, he break out from there and fly high in happiness. After that, everyone come out of there. Delroy thanks everyone a lot. Even Delroy was impatient to get to Jamaica. So without wasting much time, they start their journey to Jamaica, after saying goodbye to Chump. Delroy was also very happy as he was going back to his house. But then Gwen asks to her mom if they could land, because she needs to urinate. On this, Pam says that you are old enough to do it in the sky, but Gwen was feeling uncomfortable up there, so they have to land. But when Gwen was peeing in the bush, suddenly she screams loudly. She thinks that someone is watching her, but when everyone goes near that thing, they discover an entrance which finally leads them to a paradise full of Pekins. There they see them practicing yoga with Andrew the Pekin being their leader. They get very happy to see Mac's family there and welcome them wholeheartedly. There, Andrew introduces himself and tells them that right now, you all are in Garden of Harmony. It's like heaven for ducks. Here humans spare no expenses on our well-being. Andrews offer them to enjoy the place with them, as long as they want. Mac's family get very fascinated to know about the existence of such place, so they decides to have fun here till afternoon. Everyone was enjoying there very much, but Dax feels that something fishing is going on here, so he goes to find out about this. There Dax was shocked to know that the whole place was actually a duck farm, with Chef Tai Yi from earlier being one of its clients. None of the ducks had any idea about it. They thought that they are being taken on a field trip. Dax tries to reveal the actual truth to all the ducks and tells their leader not to go in that truck, but Andrew didn't believe him, so he tells Mac all about it. Mac also gets shocked to know this and says Dax to go back to his mom, but Dax didn't listen to him and tells every ducks to get off the truck, unless they want to be cooked. But Chef sees him and step on his wings. He tries to catch him too, but when Mac sees it, he attacks on Chef to save Dax. Seeing all this, all the Pekins know the whole truth and get off from that truck, taking advantage of which Mac and Dax also escape from there along with their family. Now Chef was very angry, but Mac's family and all those birds were safe now. They all stop at a place to rest, where Mac gets very angry at Dex as he didn't listen to him and almost got himself killed. This makes Dax angered and disown his father, after which they all go to sleep. But in the meantime, Chef was looking for them all. He was scouring every corner of the street with the help of his helicopter, because he had suffered a lot of loss because of Mac's family. So now he wanted to take revenge from them. On the other hand, Gwen was trying to cajole Dex and make him feel better. But right at the moment, Chef sees the flock of those ducks. Upon seeing Chef, there's chaos among the ducks, but Chef captures all of them except Dax and Gwen, as they both had hidden from him. He takes all the ducks with him, but poor Dax was unable to do anything, because his wings were broken. Inside the helicopter, Chef locks up every duck in a cage, but takes Mac and Pam with him, and plans to kill them first after locking them in a separate cage, so that he can keep an eye on them. Gwen, on the other hand, was crying for her parents, so Dax calms her down. Gwen asks Dax what to do next, as Dax couldn't even fly because his wings were broken. But then Dax gets an idea to fix his wings. In the helicopter, Pam and Dax were constantly trying to get out of the cage, but it was of no use. In this situation, Pam starts to get demotivated and says that maybe you were right, Mac. We shouldn't have left our pond. I am responsible for all this. Hearing this, Mac raises her spirits by saying that this isn't you. You've proven over and over again that when everything is hopeless, then you have to optimistic. After hearing all this, Pam gets motivated again, and the two of them secretly move forward together. But before the two of them could release their companions from the cage, the chef catches them. Then Pam attacks on his nose. At this point, Delroy has finally had enough, and he, Uncle Dan, and the Pekins pelt Tai Yi with fruits and vegetables, due to which Chef Tai Yi gets knocked unconscious by a squash, hitting a button that causes the helicopter to drop out. But Pam and Mac were still stuck in their cage and were about to hit the ground. But at the right time, Dax comes to save them, who had now fixed his wings. He and Gwen releases them from the cage and manages to save them at last. After that, all the other birds also releases out from that cage and reunites with Mac's family. The chef gets the right punishment for his bad deeds, after which everyone resumes their journey to Jamaica, and finally reaches the sparkling waters of Jamaica. Seeing the greenery there, they all were stunned and get filled with happiness and excitement. There, Delroy reunites with his own friends, and Dax also catch up with the duck family who visited their pond earlier. After that, all the birds celebrate their victory and dance with happiness and joy. The following spring, the family was about to head for home, but then Mac shows them a group of lost penguins that need to get to the South Pole, and they decide to help them to get there. And with this, the movie comes to an end.